Zach Brunner here from Flurry Sports, here to talk about the 5 biggest revenge games for NFL Week 2. There's few things better in sports than a revenge game narrative. A revenge game is when a player wants to get one over on their opponent. Usually it's a game against the player's former team, right? There's a reason why this player is no longer on the team. Either the team pushed that player out and thought they would be better without them. Maybe they gave the player a lowball contract offer, which was insulting to them personally. There's always something related to this. At the end of the day, there's a reason these two split up, and there's always going to be feelings involved with these games. Either the player wants to show what they are missing out on, or they want to bury them 10 feet down. If you don't want to have success with me, I'm going to be the reason that you lose without me. So with that being said, these are my 5 favorite revenge game spots for NFL Week 2, starting with Joe Flacco against the Baltimore Ravens. Joe Flacco spent his first 11 seasons with the Ravens before getting pushed out when they took Lamar Jackson. Flacco obviously won a Super Bowl there. He was a $100 million player there when that wasn't always just a given for the quarterback position. He was the guy until they ultimately kicked him out to the curb for the shiny new toy. And since then, I mean, he hasn't really had a ton of sustained success, right?
We all know kind of the story there. It's one of those things, like, you know, in the NFL, you know, there's a business side of it, and, you know, things happen.
Flacco's faced the Ravens one time in his career. This is actually back in week 1, September 11th. Never forget, 2022. He was a member of the Jets. The Jets ultimately lost, but Joe Flacco kind of put on a show. He threw the ball 59 times in the game, 59. He had 309 yards, a touchdown, an interception. He even ran for 12 yards, a nice little footsteps Flacco moment. We'll see if we can get some of that again on Sunday. But yeah, ultimately, the Jets lost. Not a surprise. Lamar Jackson didn't really play overly well. But Joe Flacco threw the ball all over the yard. His leading receiver in the game was Corey Davis. So that could tell you a little bit of what he was working with. But this week, he's got Jerry Jeudy. He's got Cedric Tillman. He's got David Njoku. He's got Dylan Sampson in the backfield. Harold Fannin all over the field. We'll see what Joe Flacco can do. I can see him throwing it a bit again in this game. Number 2, and this one is still fresh, we got DK Metcalf facing off against the Seattle Seahawks. DK Metcalf obviously traded from the Seahawks to the Steelers this offseason. And yes, you may be thinking, I think DK Metcalf requested the trade. Oh, I'll say this, though. How many players have requested trades because they were just so happy? There's bad feelings on both sides, and DK Metcalf will be motivated to show Seattle what he can do. Back in high school, Metcalf was obviously very dominant. That's no surprise. He essentially looked like he did now, playing against kids who couldn't drive. It is what it is. But one thing that was very common in his high school game, he took screens to the house. People couldn't tackle him. And even now, he's sort of a man amongst men that are lesser than him. But in Seattle, he was used mostly as a deep ball threat, very simple route tree, not doing anything overly skilled. Things are a little different now. In Pittsburgh, week 1, DK Metcalf totaled 68 yards after the catch. This is a large increase than his 18.7 yards after the catch per game while he was with Seattle. Things are going to be a little different. Steelers are using him differently. They just want to get the ball in his hands in the open field and let DK make some moves. Makes a lot of sense to me. I think that could be a very good thing for fantasy, and that could be a very good thing for this week 2 game. We'll see if Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf, how that connection will look, and maybe they can make a little bit of noise in week 2 in a game that's not, I'm not going to call it a revenge game for Rodgers, but whenever Aaron Rodgers plays the Seahawks, there's always a little bit of something. We got the fail Mary there. We got obviously the Brandon Bostic onside kick. There's a history between Rodgers and Seattle. So not only will Rodgers want DK Metcalf to get one over on his former team, but Rodgers would love to be in the headline and be part of the story of burying the Seahawks this week, I would say. For my next 2 revenge game spots, we're going to stick in the same game, same position. Let's start with DeAndre Swift going up against the Detroit Lions. Now, DeAndre Swift, another player who was traded, and he spent obviously his first 3 seasons in Detroit before getting traded. He won a Super Bowl. Then with the Philadelphia Eagles, he went to Chicago last year and had mixed results there. Not too much. And then he is still on the Bears playing Detroit this Sunday. DeAndre Swift has played Detroit twice. They both came last year with a bad Bears team. And as you can expect, Detroit was a good team. Bears were a bad team. He did not have a ton of success. So we shall see if he's able to turn that around on Sunday, not just for him, but for possibly the biggest revenge game spot for anyone on the board. And, does he have animosity? No, but I think he's trying to prove himself. That's Ben Johnson, head coach for the Detroit Lions, and he is going to use DeAndre Swift. Both of their pettiness, both of their energy is going to be fully focused on getting one over on the Detroit Lions. But last year, first game, DeAndre Swift, 11 carries, 39 yards, 2 catches for 35. Not overly great. I mean, he wasn't necessarily inefficient, but not an outstanding fantasy day. And then when he played at home, he had 9 carries for 20 yards, 3 catches for 33 yards. Once again, not a ton of noise. Week 1, I thought DeAndre Swift looked pretty good. 17 carries, so he definitely carried the ball as much as he could handle, 53 yards. That was against Minnesota. Worst defense on Sunday against Detroit. So we shall see. Will DeAndre Swift move the ball up and down the field in a similar way that the Packers did to the Lions in week 1? We shall see. But number 4, sticking in the same game, let's turn that around. Like ships passing in the night, DeAndre Swift out of Detroit. Who came to Detroit? That's David Montgomery for the Lions now. He was a former Bear. David Montgomery was a very good Bear. Spent his first 4 seasons there, now on his 3rd season in Detroit. Montgomery's got to play the Bears 3 times now with the Detroit Lions, and he's been pretty darn good against them, I would say. Back in 2023, he had a game, 12 carries, 76 yards, and a touchdown, adding another 22 through the air. He then had 10 carries for 66 yards and 3 catches for 19 in that game. Last season, he only played against Chicago 1 time. 21 carries, 88 yards, 3 catches, 36 yards. As you can see, pretty darn efficient against them. No touchdowns yet, though. That is the interesting thing. And that is not true. He had a touchdown that first game, 76 yards and a touchdown on the ground. But it's been 2 games. Will David Montgomery get back into the end zone? Week 1, pretty much a disaster for the entire backfield for Detroit. And they said, offensive coordinator there said, the running game easily fixable. So if they're so easily fixable, let's see what they can do against the Bears on Sunday. For whatever it's worth, that Bears defense looks to be pretty darn good as well. Their front 7, even though they were a little bit banged up in week 1, missing a linebacker, I think they looked pretty darn good against the Vikings run defense or run offense. So now the Bears get a little bit healthier. They're playing a little bit more together. They're motivated to help their head coach get one over on his former team. And they want to bounce back to get that sour, shitty taste out of their mouth after collapsing last week, right? Will the Bears show up or will the Lions show up? Both teams have something very much needing to prove. And maybe David Montgomery can actually bury his former team. The last revenge game, we're going to shift to the other side of the football. We got Khalil Mack facing off against the Raiders. This is one that, it's not a matchup that is necessarily rare, obviously playing in the division. And this isn't fresh as the Raiders traded him away a long time ago. However, we've seen Khalil Mack want to get up, be a little bit motivated against the Las Vegas Raiders, I would say.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait. And I'm not a talker, so I'd rather show y'all and tell you.
He's faced the Raiders 8 times in his career, obviously some with the Bears, some with the Chargers. In those 8 games, he has a whopping 11.5 sacks. Not too shabby. He's got another 12 quarterback hits. He's got 11 tackles for loss. He's been pretty damn dominant against the Raiders. Obviously, this is highlighted by his performance a couple of years ago with the Chargers facing off October 1st, 2023. This is such a stupid game. I remember I played against him in fantasy and IDP leagues. Khalil Mack, listen to this stat line. 10 total tackles for the defensive end, 6 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 4 quarterback hits, 2 forced fumbles, and a pass defensed. Holy shit.
6 sacks in one game. I had to check my phone 3 times and be like, is this correct? What a run. If I got 4 in a game, I'd probably leave the stadium. I'd be like, it's good. I'm the best player in the history of football. I'm good.
I mean, will we see another one of those games on Sunday? I would love to see that because that is just a defensive masterclass. One of the more dominating performances we have seen in the NFL in some time. But we shall see. Obviously, he is a very, very good pass rusher still. Didn't do too much in week 1. Still played about 74% of the snaps. 1 quarterback hit last week. Let's see if Khalil Mack can make a little bit of fireworks on Sunday against Geno Smith and the Las Vegas Raiders. So those were my 5 biggest revenge game spots for NFL Week 2. I need a few things from you. First, tell me in the comments below, were there any revenge games that I missed that you think I should have included on this list? Definitely let me know in the comments below. And then 2, I'm trying out different videos, different types of formats here on not just the YouTube channel, but also on flurrysports.org. There's a lot of good articles over there. Let me know if you like this video, because if you like it, there will be more in upcoming weeks. If it wasn't that big of a deal, then honestly, tell me that as well. I want to know what you guys want to see, but this is interesting information, right? Revenge games are fun. They're fun to talk about. They're probably more fun to talk about than they are in reality. However, will a player play out of their mind against their former team, or will they crumble under the pressure? That's interesting. But then also, this could be interesting for fantasy. This could be interesting for betting. If you want to bet a player to get a sack this weekend, what's more fun than betting Khalil Mack to get a sack against his former team? Absolutely nothing. So go and place that bet. Maybe lock in DK Metcalf into your fantasy lineup and tell me in the comments below, do you like this format and which revenge game spots that I missed you are watching? See you next time. Goodbye.
Fuck yeah.